Hey, it's Evie. Welcome to my channel. Today's video, no contact. No contact rule. Is there a no contact rule? You know, is there any time that you should reach out? And I'm just going to give you some pointers here about why it is better not to be the one to reach out if you're trying to manifest your ex back into your life or any specific person. More if you're trying to attract your ex back, really, because the thing is, often you reach out before you're ready inside, so you're still jumbled up inside and you've got mixed emotions, and your rational brain takes over and finds you a reason why it's okay to reach out and convinces you that actually this is a good idea. It's a good idea to reach out at this point because you can say blah blah blah. It finds you a good reason to reach out. But the thing is, if you sat there for half an hour or so with that thought, you would probably change your mind. But the thing is, once that happens, you jump in there and you do reach out but you kind of know, even though you are blocking that part of you out and just going with your rational brain. Because we have ego, don't we, as well? And we think, well, of course they'll want us to reach out, you know, of course they won't ignore us and all of that. And they might do either, they could do any of those things, ignore you, answer you briefly, you know, a really sort of non-committed answer, or, you know, something casual. So the reason I say don't do it while you're not right inside, while you're not quite up to it. If you know that if you don't get a response, that you can handle it, then you won't be that bothered, then you'll think, okay, whatever, then that's fine. But if you know really that it's going to really devastate you if you don't get an answer, or it's going to upset you in any way, make you feel insecure, lose some of your confidence that you've built up whilst trying to manifest them back, then I'd suggest that it's not the best thing to do, because anything that impedes your progress with this overall, it is not a good thing. I don't think that you'll be doing yourself any favours, but I do understand the desire to do that. The thing is, let's say you are doing really well, and you're handling this well, and you find I'm not so attached as I was, and I am managing with life, you know, I'm fine. Okay, I still miss them a bit and I still wish to be with them, but I'm actually okay. You're getting up in the morning and you're not feeling as horrible as you did. You're feeling better. So let's say then your rational brain decides that you should reach out and contact them, even though deep down you probably know it's not the best time, but you find a reason to do that. It finds a reason for you to do that. You do that, but you're not in the right place. So you haven't actually begun to really manifest the whole thing properly yet, because you're not in the right place about yourself, and you're not in the right place about them and past circumstances that you still think, well, you know, don't matter, but you can't sort of help but make them matter in your head. So you reach out and you don't get the response that you wanted. Maybe you don't get any response. So what does that do? It doesn't really matter as far as the law of attraction is concerned, and as far as creating your own reality is concerned. It doesn't, because circumstances don't matter. But your rational brain will make it matter. It will say, oh, and it will set you right back. So whereas you may have been feeling better, you will be feeling worse, because you'll be feeling rejected, and that is not a good feeling. Really isn't. None of us likes to feel rejected, you know, as much as I say that I can take rejection to a certain point. I can take rejection, but none of us, you know, it's not a great thing, is it? So it will set you back no matter what, and you'll either be really, really gutted and you'll feel like, this is just never going to happen, or you'll then start trying really, really, really extra hard to then sort of, you'll see that as a snapback, and you'll think you have to try harder, and you don't. It's the last thing that you need to do, is to try harder. Rejection just does not feel good. Now, let's say let's say that you get ignored. Now that is really going to set you back, because being ignored is just not great, is it? But it will be coming from you. It will be coming from you, because deep down you'll be thinking, they could ignore this, they might ignore me, might not hear from them, and then I'm going to feel bad. And because you know that this has happened in the past, probably has happened in the past, and you're half expecting it. So I'd say that's a likely response, but it's not a response, is it? That is likely to happen, it is. Or you might get something really casual back, and you'll think, well, that didn't mean anything. Oh, have I got anywhere with this manifesting or not? You won't really know. So you'll start to feel unsure about whether it's working and whether the stuff you've done has been working. or you'll maybe get something, or they'll just block you or something. That can happen, and it has happened to people. And then you'll just think, well, I've done all of this stuff, it's clearly not working, and then you'll get frustrated and you wonder why it works for everybody else and it doesn't work for you. But the thing is, the only reason that any of this stuff happens is because you're not right inside. I mean, I don't know whether not right inside is the best way to describe this, but that's kind of what I mean. If you have all of these mixed emotions about them still, and you're still harping back, so that's not a very nice word, is it? But you're still sort of revising all of the things that happened to you in the past, in that relationship, things you said, things they said, they're this, they're that, they're stubborn, and you're finding all of these things about them that you're still backing up in your head, then that's what you're going to get from them. So the only reason ever to reach out is if you're doing it from a point of calm and a point of, it would be lovely to hear from them, but not being stuck on it, and so that you might be a bit disappointed if they don't come back to you, but you're not that bothered. You think, okay, it's not the right time. When it's the right time, it will happen, or you're sort of relaxed and open to other things happening, maybe even meeting somebody else, even though you'd like them back. If you were to go out one evening and meet somebody and chat to them and get on really well with them, have lots in common and be attracted to them, then that's okay to date somebody else, So if you can get to that point, that's the point that you want to be. That's where you want to be, really. So the only reason, there are two things with no contact. So I write relationship articles and I write for various different platforms. So I don't write for people. I do write some law of attraction stuff, but I don't write generally for people that are into the law of attraction, because I'm writing general articles for all kinds of different platforms. So I could write about no contact, and I could say no contact is the best way to go anyway, because reaching out when you're in a bad place is just not good for your soul. It isn't. So no contact is the best way if you're wanting to get back with your ex and you know that there's something still there. So you're not into law of attraction. I'm talking to you as if the law of attraction doesn't exist. Life is rational and normal and all of that. So you want your ex back. You know that there's still a little bit of a spark there. So you know there is a possibility. But you know that if you reach out to them, then they are just not going to want to know. So you leave it, you just pull back, and that way they will wonder what is going on in your life. How are you? Are you doing okay? Are you over them? Because that's human nature. Of course that's what's going to happen. So even if you're not into this, which you obviously are because you're here, but just speaking from a rational point of view and a sensible point of view, a practical point of view, you don't reach out. It's better in any case not to reach out. But with the law of attraction, what you're doing is you are reaching out before you're ready, before your soul is ready to cope with whatever. And the thing is, when you're right in yourself and you feel confident in yourself and your self-esteem is high and you have made yourself a priority and all of the other stuff that I talk about in my other videos, and you know that you are important, then that it will happen naturally. It will happen. They will make contact with you and it will all be good. And even then, if you're at a point and you just know that you feel that way, and then if you do decide to reach out, it doesn't matter. There's no absolute rule that says you must not make contact. There's absolutely no rule that says that, because if you're in a good place and you know that you can accept whatever happens, then it's not a problem. It's really not. It's just not the best idea when you're still working on yourself. And I'd also say to you, don't just work on manifesting them back. And I say don't work on manifesting somebody back, because you don't need to. You just need to intend it and feel it. What you need to do is work on yourself. And if you have found that you have not dealt with a relationship very well, and you have maybe been needy and jealous or any of that stuff, and you look back and you know that you were like that, then you just need to work on yourself and get yourself to a place where you feel okay. So either you feel okay with those character traits of yours, that you think, that's me, too bad, that's me, don't like it, and that's fine. So you can deal with it that way, and you accept all of those things about you. So you have to not get mad about those things about you when, because you're accepting them. So you can do that, or you can decide that you are not going to be like that anymore. I mean, I've never been jealous, I've never been resentful and all of that stuff. I take after my dad, and that's exactly what he just didn't bear a grudge, and I don't bear a grudge at all, and I never have done. But the character trait that was not great about me was I was reactive, and I've said this before in other videos, and I would just leap in. Somebody would say something and I would not stop to think about what my answers should be, and I wouldn't even really take what they were saying in properly, and I would come back with something that had I waited half an hour, I wouldn't have said. And the thing is, once it's out there, it's out there. It's done, isn't it? Somebody's heard it, and that's that. And it's very difficult to come back from that. So I wanted to change that about myself because it was negative for other people, and it had negative ramifications for me. So I decided that I was going to change that, and it took me about 6 months, and I'm not remotely reactive anymore, and I cannot even imagine being like that now. I'm just not at all. Sometimes I just don't say anything. Say if my husband says something to which usually I would have sort of barked back something, sometimes I just don't even answer. I don't care because I think, oh, it's not worth the energy. I'm just really not bothered. So, you can change your core being. That was part of me. I'd always been like that since I was a child. So I completely changed that about myself. I was also, and I am still, very impulsive. And I had decided that I was going to change that because I thought that was negative. But actually, when I really thought about that, and I thought about some of the things that I brought into my life through being impulsive, a car, for example, I just was sat next to this car that I really wanted, and I knew it was mine. And that's a whole other story, but that was a manifestation. And I just signed for that car in half an hour. I didn't even take it for a test drive. I just knew it was mine. And had I not been impulsive, then I wouldn't have done that. I might have thought about it and thought, oh, I don't really need a new car. It's just, I would have talked myself out of it. So I think my impulsive nature is great. I love it. I'm really on board with it now. I have no problem with it whatsoever. But my reactive nature has gone. So if there's anything that you want to change about yourself because you feel that it has a negative impact on you, then you can. And that's what you need to do in order to be okay to reach out to them. If it were me, I still wouldn't, because I think I'm at a point in my life where I think, yeah, if you want to contact me, that's amazing, and I'd love to talk to you and enjoy your company and all of that. But if I have to be the one to keep reaching out, then I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. It's just not for me anymore, and I'm good with that. I'm really good with that, and I know that I can handle whatever. So therefore, people do reach out because you think it's all about the energy that you put out. So let's say, okay, no contact. You're on board with this and you've decided no contact. What you really don't want to do is decide no contact and then keep looking for contact from them. Oh, have they reacted to my no contact? Yeah, is it working? Is it working? That's not the way to do this. The way to do it is to do it from a point of, I am going to get to a good place in myself, and until I'm good in myself, I ain't reaching out to you, right? It's done with for the time being because I'm important and I'm going to get myself right. That's what this is really about. It's not about doing it in order to get them to contact you. They will, but it's not about that. It can't be about that, because then you're still doing it from a point of neediness, if you get that. So when you're doing it from a point of neediness, you'll still struggle. You might get the odd bit of contact, but it's not the best way to do this. Better is to get yourself right, and then it doesn't matter. They reach out, you reach out. It's all the same. It doesn't matter because you have an effortless relationship with them. Whoever reaches out first, it's no big deal. That's the point you want to get to. So that is why no contact is not the best. Contact, you reaching out to them, is just not the best until you're in the right frame of mind and you can handle whatever. The thing is, if you are in that right place, then they will have contacted you anyway. But if they haven't and you do contact them, then it will be effortless. It won't be a problem because you'll be in that good place and you'll know that you want them and you'll know how that you want them and you'll have felt that relationship and you'll get that. But don't do it while you're not in a good place, because all it can do is make you feel rubbish. And none of us needs that, do we? None of us needs that. We all need to feel good about ourselves, and we all should feel good about ourselves, and we should all put ourselves first. And I wouldn't have been on board with that a few years ago because I was all about putting everybody else first and me last, because I thought that was the good way to be, good way to live. But then you end up doing things that you don't want to do, and you're doing them and you're not enjoying them, and you're only doing it to keep somebody else happy, when in actual fact, people don't mind if you tell them how it is. They just don't mind. I used to get myself caught up and go to events and do things that I didn't want to do because I was doing it for somebody else. And then when I stopped doing that, and I actually only stopped really doing that about a year ago, and nobody minds at all when you tell them, well, no, actually, I can't do that. Can you do it this day? Or can we do this instead? Or I just don't really feel it. That's not my thing. No one minds. They don't. They really don't. So that's been a great change for me, actually. Sometimes I will put myself out. I will put myself out for people if I really want to help somebody. And it's kind of not the thing I want to do, but they're not asking. I just want to help somebody, and I will do that because I will feel good about helping. And generally you kind of enjoy it more than anyway. But if I'm asked to go anywhere that I don't want to go, if somebody's invited me, I really don't want to go, then I won't do it. For instance, my brother organises a Zoom quiz every single Saturday, and he's brilliant. He's a brilliant compere, and it's really nice. And there's a few of us that do it, and like, they're all their friends. They're not particularly my friends, but it's all good fun. But I don't want to do it every single Saturday night. And there would have been a time when I would have done it, because I would have thought, Matt has put in this effort and he's organising it all and he does really well at it and he has to research all of the questions. So it's my duty to do it every single Saturday night. But sometimes I just want to watch a movie on a Saturday night, and it doesn't give me time because it ends by the time we've finished it up, it's about 10 o'clock and it's a little bit too late. So I just say to him, I don't want to do it. We're not going to do the quiz this Saturday, Matt. And he's like, cool with it. He's absolutely fine. Yeah, that's no problem. He doesn't mind. But before, I would have done it regardless, and then thought, oh, I would rather be doing something else. So it's all good to say no to things. I know it's a completely different topic, but yay for no contact until you are right. And you can get right. That's the thing with this. And when you do get right, you feel good and you can handle whatever. Yes, you still want contact from them, but if it doesn't come, thing is, I say if it doesn't come, but it will come. But if it doesn't, you're just not quite ready for it. But you can have it just as you want it, but just don't chuck yourself in there. And the only reason to not chuck yourself in there before you're ready is because it will cause resistance and it'll be a step back for you. It's not really a step back. Reality can still change like this. But your brain will decide it's a snapback. You've gone backwards, and it will decide that you're then starting way, way back and you've got to do all of this work again. And you just don't have to. This stuff is not about work. It's not about action. My next video is about taking action, when you should take action, and when you shouldn't take action, how much action do you need to take, all of that. Anyway, thank you if you're a member via my website, my coaching, one-to-one coaching, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. There's quite a few of you on board now, and I am going to get a forum on there. Great. I've got another book, Degrees of Attachment, coming out in 2 weeks, and my book, Get Back With Your Ex, is out now. Sorry, I leave all this promotional stuff right to the end of the video because I know nobody wants to have to fizz through that at the beginning. So there you go.